Hopium is coming, flowing out of the sinks and out of the trees. Kamala Harris just got the job done, right? And in every way imaginable. I mean, she had a job to do. She did it. She was prepared. She was confident. She was strong. She looked him in the eye, right? She made her case that she had to make about her and what she wanted to do for the country. It was an extraordinary performance. It was another extraordinary moment in what has been an extraordinary and historic campaign. Her ongoing performance as a national candidate, coming from a place where she didn't go through a primary, has been incredible and inspiring. Her campaign continues to operate at a very, very high level, an inspiring level. Look, we're in good shape, everybody. I mean, before even the debate happened, there had been this kind of New York Times poll, which kind of spooked everybody. It was a bad poll. I mean, it was very Republican, way too Republican for where the electorate is. But if you look at all the data, and we got a lot of really good polling after the New York Times poll showing the election, all saying the same thing. The data is doing something that's very unusual, which is it's all pointing in the same direction right now. We have about a 2 to 3 point national lead. We're in better shape in the battlegrounds than they are. Our Senate polling is incredibly encouraging all across the country, and we're outside what's called the partisan lean. And so we were already in a stronger position than them. And we were always, and the core of this program, this core of our series, is that we were going to have the ability to end strong, our ability to end strong and close because of our money, because of our volunteers, because of the enthusiasm gap that we have with them, that we were going to be able to close stronger. And now we have this debate where she just kicked his ass and also did so in a way that something that you've been talking about, Tara, created many, many moments that are going to become a powerful part of our understanding of the debate over the next few days. And so, look, I'm very optimistic. I'd much rather be us than them. But at the end of the day, the most important thing I want to say is, man, is Kamala Harris a really impressive and incredible candidate for president. I'm just so proud of her because she just was given this opportunity, but also enormously challenging moment a few months ago. And she's handled it brilliantly and successfully. And so, hats off to our next president.
Absolutely. And truly, from the moment she did the rebuttal, seconds after the debate between President Biden and Trump ended a few months ago at this stage to now, she's risen to this occasion that she did not plan for, she did not ask for, none of us expected. And she has just over delivered in a way that I agree with you. I'm not only proud of her, I'm so proud to support her. And I think that's how a lot of people feel. And something that really struck me, we actually watched the debate together and did a little pre and post show for a live stream with Stuart, who's joining us later in the show. Watching these things, especially when you've worked in politics and media for as long as we have, you know that there is a performative element to this. You know how prepared the candidates have to be and how much coaching they go through. And, we also know that you can have a bad day and a bad night like any of us, and that can really have a massively negative impact on your campaign. And yet what I was really struck by is that and I have been since she became the nominee, is how much we have seen Kamala Harris trust herself and really be able to be her genuine self and to be able to evoke the real feelings and representation of the American people when she talks about such personal issues like abortion, reproductive rights, and freedom, as she did, to the point that she cornered Trump on that issue and watched him flip-flop and swerve and unravel around it in real time. And there was no moment of, I got him, or smugness at all, because that's not how we all feel. This is that important. These issues, the stakes of them are that high. What is at stake for our rights and our freedoms, and especially for women, our bodily autonomy. I just felt that she represented that in the most genuine, truest, and most powerful essence of what we hope for a candidate or elected official who seeks to represent the American people to be. And I'm still processing it in a lot of ways, but I was just really, really, really not just impressed, but as you mentioned, proud of it. And as we know, she knew the assignment. She understood the assignment. She didn't just get her points across and what she will do for this country and how she will solve the biggest problems facing us, but she also really baited the shit out of Donald Trump in a way that worked more effectively than it should have for someone who has been at this for a while like he has. But it truly did get him in a position of, really, really unraveling and showing his emotional instability and showing his inability to stay on message or to not take that bait when she talked about his rallies.
I'm going to actually do something really unusual, and I'm going to invite you to attend one of Donald Trump's rallies, because it's a really interesting thing to watch. You will see during the course of his rallies, he talks about fictional characters like Hannibal Lecter. He will talk about windmills cause cancer. And what you will also notice is that people start leaving his rallies early out of exhaustion and boredom.
And she quoted leaders calling him a disgrace, a word that he often uses.
These dictators and autocrats are rooting for you to be president again because they're so clear. They can manipulate you with flattery and favors. And that is why so many military leaders who you have worked with have told me you are a disgrace.
It was just absolute masterclass. And to your point, she created a lot of moments that, still a few days later are just now reaching so many of the Americans that are probably not on the fence who they would vote for, but are absolutely on the fence of whether they'll vote or not. And those are the folks that we know actually decide these elections. And so even I got a text message the morning after the debate from my team that just within the night to the morning from the debate, our video clips from the debate from COURIER on TikTok had over 3 million views and counting. It was really incredible, and that's how the majority of people in this country will actually be consuming what happened in that debate for days to come.
Two things about what you just said that I want to reflect on, and one is that I keep coming back this in the aftermath of this idea that she was prepared. And I think this is really important because you can't, and you and I discussed this in one of our appearances together over the last few days, that it's very easy when you're going up against him to get sucked into his ugliness and to let him start to take over the debate. And he tried last night repeatedly, right? I mean, the anchors actually really struggled to keep him under control, and they did a decent job. They didn't do a great job on that. In general,
turning the mic off didn't work, by the way.
Yeah. And so, but they were ready for that, and they were ready for it in a couple ways. One was that her consistent facial expressions through the evening and the way she responded to his lunacy and his madness was among the most powerful things that happened in the debate last night. And those were things that they thought through that, because she needed to look incredulous without looking dour and angry, right? And so they nailed the emotional, to your point, the emotional response, his madness was deeply appropriate, powerful, and she crushed him in the split screen all through the evening. And the second thing that I just have been thinking about a lot is you can't be successful in California without being media savvy and without being, telegenic. And her understanding of the television, TV, media part of the game is unreal. I mean, she's got crazy powerful instincts on this stuff. And it's necessary to defeat him because this is his whole game. He is media savvy. He's a media creation. He paints his face and he dyes his hair and he wears girdles and he's an invented man. He's a fake man, right? A weak man, a baby man, all those things. But so she is operating at a level of the sort of the imagery TV game that is necessary to beat him. And that was, frankly, in retrospect, a very significant weakness for Joe Biden. And it wasn't just Joe Biden's age, by the way. It was also just his understanding of the centrality of these things, which I think you learn from being a statewide elected official in California. Joe Biden grew up in a state where he knew everybody, and he could be successful without having to become deeply sophisticated about the media side of the game. And so one of the things that I'm really deeply excited about her winning, which we will, and her becoming president, is that we have a very modern leader now, right, who understands deeply, even when she began her campaign with the Beyonce Freedom Song, where she was going deep into this kind of emotional place of music and all that Beyonce represents, right? Embracing this as central to her campaign. She's running a very, very modern race. And the campaign is responding to it. The staff are being lifted up by this, by her savvy and by her aggression or her aggressiveness. And I think this is critical in order for us to win. Right. I mean, this is not just about, this is and as somebody who grew up like you did in the TV news business, she's got game, man. And it is powerful and she knows it. And they now are learning, her team is learning how to build a campaign around that. And I think it just is another reason why I'm so optimistic that we're going to kick his ass over the next couple of months.
Yeah, she and her campaign absolutely understand you don't have to just win the debate with the media and the pundits. You have to win the internet. And one of my favorite split screens that has gone viral is her like this. And looking so angry, you can almost see the smoke coming out of his ears, the cartoon character with his red face, and her composure versus his emotional chaos. That is the visual contrast. That is the actual contrast between these two individuals. And to your point, preparation, I want someone prepared to be president of this country and leader of the free world and the strongest advocate around the world for democracy. And she is that person. And she was nothing short of presidential. It's been just really inspiring to watch. So there's everything has been said. Will continue to be talked about this debate. If there may or may not be another debate, we don't know yet. They've both sort of been on the fence about it. I think the Harris campaign has been like, yes, let's go. And Trump was saying, I think I heard him say after the debate that, only people who lose a debate want a second debate, not that debate. And, just anything out of his mouth, really, he's trying to project. But whether or not there is another debate, we still do have 7 weeks and change left. What do you think both campaigns need to really, really focus on coming out of this debate?
Well, one thing that I also think happened in the preparation for the debate is that they advanced really important new language and ways of talking about him that were new and powerful. And it's clear that during this preparation, that new things came out. When you throw things against the wall, you practice. This is why. And so, for example, the line that she used, that 81 million Americans fired you in 2020.
Donald Trump was fired by 81 million people. So let's be clear about that. And clearly he is having a very difficult time processing that.
Oh man, did I have that for me was a moment, because it was playing on the "you're fired." I mean, there was brilliance to that line in so many ways.
Still processing it. Oh, that was such a chef's kiss.
And there were many moments like that. I mean, to your point about moments, you've been talking about this a lot over the last few days. There are so many moments. There weren't 2 or 3. There were 8, 9, 10, 12, 15 moments that they created themselves, right? That were new and new formulations. And I've been saying this, that Kamala is the most effective counter to Donald Trump that's emerged in the Democratic Party over the last 9 years. And she told us why, right? That she faced people like him in court, that she prosecuted people like him, that he was familiar to her. She had defeated people like him in her own life. And I think that when she told us that, the very first time she spoke as the new candidate and began her remarks with a reminder about all of that, it was a really powerful moment in the evolution of her candidacy, because what she was telling us was she's got this. She's not spooked by this crazy guy, that she understands him and she's going to go beat him. And so I think that part of, in terms of the close, what also happened in the debate was that she's now found new weapons and new tools to beat him that she didn't have before through the preparation of this debate, that I think are going to, again, make it more likely that we win. And I just want to, again, as somebody who's been in the business like you, hats off to Kamala and the team for continuing to innovate, to continuing to find new words and new images and new ways to describe the import of the moment that we're in, right? To sort of help us understand the gravity and the stakes of what's in front of us without terrifying everybody, right? To your point about bringing us in as opposed to pushing us away. And she was great at that last night. So I think part of what happened with this debate is we've been given collectively, all of us, much new and powerful words, rhetoric, language, tools to self describe him and to also make the case for her. I mean, she was so good and so detailed on so many complex issues last night, right? And helped all of us understand more powerfully where she wants to take the country. So we all became much stronger last over this debate. The party, all of us who are in the game helping her. And so, I remain very optimistic. I mean, I think in terms of what everyone has to do, it's just hard for me to see how Trump can change the trajectory of the election right now, which was already slipping away from him and now which is further away. And this kind of virtuous cycle that we're going to have where we're going to raise all this additional money and reach more voters and more money will come in. And he's going to start having even more significant financial problems and motivation problems and defections on his side. We're going to have a virtuous cycle. He's going to enter a vicious cycle, I think. We felt this way, though, in 2016, right? I mean, there was sort of no way that Trump could derail Hillary's strength, and then Comey intervened and helped change the election. And I think we've learned our lesson on this, that we can't take our foot off the gas. And she had a great new line last night, which was,
hard work is good work, and we will win. We will win.
I'm putting that in my post today at Hopium. And she reminded us, and even in an email she just sent a few minutes ago, she's like, look, debates don't win elections. We got to go win the election now. And so even her language around, look, that was good, but now we got all this other stuff we got to go do, right, was, pitch perfect and kind of amazing. And I do want to sort of express, I think both of us in our own way are expressing our admiration of the unbelievable skill that we're all sort of witnessing with our own eyes in being professionals in this business. They're kicking ass, man.
I also just can't miss an opportunity to give a shout out to all of the women and girlfriends watching or listening to this who have been underestimated in big and small ways before. I think Kamala Harris was deeply, deeply underestimated by all sorts of folks. And so there is a little bit of an element of joyful surprise. And yet I think that there are tens of millions of women across this country who are like, yeah, exactly. This is an experience that so many of us share. And there is something sweet about watching it play out in this way, and to see her really, really, really be in a position that is aligned with her purpose, her experience, and her potential. And she ended her thank you remarks when she said, hard work is good work, which, by the way, is very in line with this sentiment that I'm sharing. She ended those remarks to Taylor Swift's The Man, which is a deeply favorite song of mine. And also, Taylor Swift is the biggest superstar on this planet, who took it upon herself without any warning to the campaign to endorse Kamala Harris and Tim Walz following the debate in a post that said she had watched the debate. She does her research. Everyone's job is to do their own research and make their own choice, but that she had made a choice to vote for this ticket. It was an incredibly eloquent post. Everyone should read it if they haven't. I'm sure most folks have. It got like 5 million likes within a few hours, I think, as anything by Taylor Swift would. She included a link to register to vote in her Instagram story, which I'm sure the numbers are going to be incredible for. And, again, this election is going to be carried by women. And now, really, for the first time, from the very, very, very top of the ticket down to the least politically engaged women voter in the battleground states, there's just no question about it. And it's just, on a personal note, a really, really exciting thing to be witnessing and experiencing right now.